you don't really think that Chucky is alive, do you?
It is truly remarkable, borderline mind-boggling, the amount of Chuckies that have occurred right here on this channel, on these videos throughout the course of this season and last season. So many things, so many sniffs that I take behind closed doors. I run them through full FDA test trials. I test them on thousands of people, the thousands of people on the Patreon. All these things have been tested. And then I bring them to your front doorstep, and it's just the most mind-boggling, unlucky Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate circumstances. I'm like, yeah, there is a doll that curses, it's going to stab you. It's been tested. Look, here you go.
Andy, Chucky. Chucky is a doll. He's made of plastic and stuffing. Look at him, look at him.
Everything from the under 6.5 with, Warren Foegele, he's not on either power play. He's a line 3 guy. That's the perfect guy to put it in there. Warren Foegele has the career day.
Andy, stop it.
Jamie Benn, under
Andy,
2.5,
stop
under
it.
2.5, under 2.5,
Please.
under 2.5. I say it on this video, had 7 shots on goal. And then last night, truly the culmination, the final Chucky, like, the forever purge. That's what the level of child's play we saw last night.
Chucky, huh?
I promise you, there's no better way to bet the NHL. There's nothing more consistently profitable than those line combinations and doing exactly what I showed you yesterday. Unfortunately, if you picked every game from the last 6 weeks and said, hey, what's the absolute worst game that you can choose to give every possible line combo for and then present it to the people to introduce them to the line combos, the advanced line combos, it would be that game last night, that Swiss cheese 2-to-1, no combos of all those combos. So while, yeah, I lost like $700, it's no big deal. My month, I'm already up $7,600. Okay, so I'm down. But you people, now you're going to be dissuaded from doing it again, despite the fact it's the guaranteed best way to go about it. Trust me, I've done every last type of NHL bet you could ever do. Everything you just found out about this year, I stopped doing 4 years ago because I realized there are so many things better than that. And that's what I'm telling you the line combos are. But as I told you yesterday, all you have to do is talk to even one person who's been on the Patreon for more than 2 weeks. So if you have a brain, stick with it. If not, you can go back to your 8-leg donkey lines. It's a 14-game slate tonight. There's going to be plenty of games to choose from if you want to go donkey line hunting. But you know what? There's always a silver lining. The one thing that's good about last night, if everybody was watching and then everybody had those combos in and then they smashed and the whole country was doing this for all the games, those prices would really start to tank. So if there is a silver lining, at least we're going to get some good prices because fewer people are going to be hunting those combinations for each game. But that was, I just really chuckled in my own head. What are you going to do? We have a 14-game slate, so, we will try to find some things in here to help soothe your wounds. And as you saw last night, and as I've been kind of hinting at, when you see two teams playing, and especially if even one of those teams needs to get in those playoffs, you're going to start seeing some lower scores. Whether it's a 2-to-1 game between two teams, I'd hoped that they usually can bring the magic out, but no, a 2-1 final there, and then you had a shutout in the next game. So hey, at least we got that Kraken under team total. But you're going to start seeing lower scores, especially when two teams like that, with one team fighting for a wild card, they just can't afford to take any chances. And I see one of those right on this slate with the St. Louis Blues and the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver, just like I told you, not to just get overexcited. Okay, the Kraken scored 6 goals against Chicago. Get that out of your head. It's not going to be the same situation. Very next night, they're going to be playing a team who has to win low-scoring games and needs every last point they can get. And you saw the Kraken's offense, after putting up 6, to a grand total of nothing. So not to say that Vancouver is exactly the same as the Kraken. Against the St. Louis Blues, I tend to think this is going to veer back in that direction. I don't see this one being some extremely high-scoring game. And I got news for you. You may not know this, but in over the last 20 games, one of the best records in the NHL belongs to the St. Louis Blues. Out of all those teams vying for that final spot in the Western Conference, you know what I thought of Vancouver last year. I called them a scam in the playoffs. I called them a scam going into this year, so you know I'm not picking Vancouver. I look at St. Louis as the best of those three teams in the Western Conference. So if I get a home team, the team who's playing the best of those three, honestly, they're playing some of the best hockey in the entire NHL at home against a team they need to beat, who they're looking right up at in that wild card spot. I'm going to go with those St. Louis Blues at home. I typically would tell you, okay, but Thomas and Buchnevich, that's just as good as ever at plus 160. But this one may be a clenched ass cheeks game, so we will stay away, especially I don't want to give you PTSD after last night. So that's who I like there. As you saw last night when I picked against the Kraken, essentially, I like betting against teams on the second half of back-to-backs who have to travel. It's not going to work 100% of the time, but you put yourself in a good position. If a team plays and they got to travel, usually the team that's waiting for them, they're able to get on top of that other team relatively quickly, which is exactly what we saw in that Minnesota game. Now, the team that I'm going to choose to win, I'm going to pick this team to win, you're not going to be thrilled with, because if you picked them to win the other night, you lost. But fortunately, I gave you the under 2.5 goals for Calgary, which it did come through. I'm going with the New York Rangers. Now, a couple nights ago, I said, we got the Rangers who need the points playing against a team who played the night before. And the New York Rangers put forth one of the worst efforts in decades. It's being destroyed in the media. Their fans are going nuts. People are disgusted with the Rangers. And while I said the other night this should be a team desperate for points, now you have a team who's desperate for points and thoroughly embarrassed in the last game and have been chewed out by everyone from the coach, the media, the players, you name it. So you should be getting a good effort from the New York Rangers here. And on the flip side, you have a Toronto team who just beat Colorado. They're probably feeling pretty good about themselves. I'm going to go with the New York Rangers here. By the time this game starts, you got to imagine the line is going to shift towards Toronto. I don't know a single person who would ever want to bet the Rangers directly after the worst game you've ever seen from them in a good couple of years. But if you see somehow the Rangers go from this minus 112 to minus 125, that's the NHL in Las Vegas winking at you. Yeah, the Rangers are taking this one. So I'm going to go with the New York Rangers. Controversial pick, probably. Hey, if you want money lines, you want the donkey lines, then also be prepared for me to give you ones you're not going to like. Maybe you'll like this next one. Maybe you will not. The other night I proclaimed the final push for the Edmonton Oilers started a couple games ago. They're now on a 3-game win streak. They erupted for 7 goals, and they're taking on the Winnipeg Jets, who, I don't know, for the first time all year, got absolutely waxed. They gave up 7 goals. And after a game like that, a team like Winnipeg, who has just not played very poorly in long stretches, maybe there was one mini stretch where they kind of dipped down a little bit, but outside of that, they have been essentially, them and the Caps, the most consistent teams in the entire NHL all year. So I don't think we're just going to catch Winnipeg falling asleep behind the wheel. You're going to have a team who just lost 7-1 against an Edmonton Oilers who I proclaimed you're going to see their closest resemblance to playoff hockey down the stretch here as they try to take that division at the end. And I guess I'm going to have to stand by that claim. This is not going to be an easy win. They are going to have to earn this win against a Winnipeg team that I imagine is going to be pretty solid defensively, pay attention to detail, and really try to win this game in about between two Canadian Western Conference juggernauts. But I'm going with those Edmonton Oilers. I think that they are battle-tested after the playoffs last year, and I think they do need to have a couple signature wins down the stretch here. Yeah, I know it's great to beat the Utah Coyote hockey club, but beating the number 1 seed in the West at home, it's still just the regular season, but it will send a little message, and that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the Edmonton Oilers to beat the number 1 seed, Winnipeg Jets, in Edmonton. Speaking of that other consistent team, the Washington Capitals, they got the Philadelphia Flyers coming into their building. The Capitals really kind of built themselves a little bit of cushion. They had a great win against the Detroit Red Wings the other night. Sorry, Stevie Bong Rips. It's just happening every single year. Just outside that last wild card. Hey, you know, the Red Wings had a legendary run for multiple decades, and now I guess you're just having to pay that off in the long run. Anyway, Capitals, Flyers. The Flyers have been in a little rut offensively, coming off of being shut out by Andrei Vasilevsky. I don't know if the sledding's going to get much easier here. The only thing you kind of got to ask yourself, does a team like Washington kind of just overlook a team like that? Yes, like most people, Washington would probably be a good bet to win. But I'm looking around. Is there anything better than that? I'm looking at Philadelphia. Under 2.5 goals. Can they do it? I mean, they just got shut out. It's not like they're scoring a lot. You're not getting a good price on that. That's like a minus 150. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a swing at Travis Konecny under half of a point plus 110. The line that he's currently on with Cates and Forrester, that's been doing nothing these last couple of games. Their power play is relatively cold. I'm going to go under half of a point for Konecny, and if unders aren't your thing, well, how about an over? On the other side, on Washington, we saw J.Chychrun get shifted up to that top power play, and I just taught you the other night with Chicago how lucrative that top defenseman on PP1 is. And now we're going to see it with J.Chychrun. That's what he's been elevated to these last two games. Got a point last game, and I'm going to take him for a point this game against the Philadelphia Flyers. So give me J.Chychrun for a point there. Speaking of Chicago, they got absolutely waxed by the Kraken the other night. Now they have the Kings going in there, who they're in one of these weird Minnesota Wild ruts where if they're winning, it's a 1-0 overtime game at home. But then if they're losing, it's a low score. They're not scoring a lot. But I think if you're not scoring a lot, a team like Chicago, who's just on this final quarter of the season where nothing really means anything, this is a good spot for the Kings. You're not going to get any good money line value. You're not going to get any of this good value. There's just not going to be a lot of good value. The first thing I see, oh yeah, same type of thing. Under 2.5 goals for the Blackhawks, giving you like a minus 150. That's not worth it. You want to know what really tickles my fancy here? A team like the Kings, a couple months ago, if they were going into Chicago and you were getting Kempe Kopitar at plus 140, you'd be tickled pink. And I'm still tickled pink because I know in a game where against a team where the Kraken just scored 6 against them in that building, this could be a get-right spot in terms of the offense getting more than 3-4 goals up in Chicago. So if that's going to be the case, I feel pretty confident that that top-line duo, who's also on the top power play, will find themselves on the score sheet at some point, despite the fact that the team hasn't been scoring much at all in these last couple of games. But I like the Kings there. I don't mind going under half of a point on Connor Bedard. You can go check out his game log last 15 games. I mean, he has points in like 4 of his last 15. So taking someone like him for under half of a point is a decent proposition. But I like that Kempe Kopitar point prop combo plus 140. And I get it, if you have PTSD, you don't want to hear point prop combos anymore. If you do want to hear point prop combos, you know where to get them. The whole slew of them is going to be available on the Patreon. It's patreon.com/Andy Francess. You can come see Chucky for yourself.
There, see? He's gone. He can't bother you anymore.
If not, good luck to you. Better luck to me. Make sure you're subscribed here to the YouTube channel, whether Chucky shows up or not. Give these videos likes, give them click the notifications so you know when these videos come out. Sometimes I'm in the beach in California and they'll just come out during the middle of the day. Sometimes they come out in the middle of the night. But the only way you'll know is if you click that Saved by the Bell in the top right corner or wherever the hell they stash it. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow for what, one game? Lord knows, but I'll be here regardless. Take it easy. I'll talk to you then.
Next time you're alone, you're mine. What was that ruckus?